Nah, this is the Kickback. You already know what it is. For the first time, we're actually going live. So if you're viewing this on Facebook Live, we appreciate you for tuning in. Please let us know if you have any comments, any questions, or anything that you would like to chime in about, because we will do our best to answer those while we are here on camera. I go by the name of Steezus. I'm your host, as per usual. To my right, I got my man, Dano, editor extraordinaire, all things sneakerhead. You already know how he does it. To my far left, music video director extraordinaire. He goes by the name of John Colombo.
What up?
Rocking if I have to guess, you're rocking the Fendi pants that red and fucked up at Complex Con?
These are them.
Dude, there's nothing there. He tried to show us earlier. There's nothing on
Ain't nothing on them?
It's enough.
He was talking all
like
that
if I was
shit.
trying to sell them, I'd have to be like putting a big circle on it with like an arrow and shit.
Okay. You can take them to the dry cleaners, they'll get that shit right out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And our guest for this evening is a good friend of all of us here at the Kickback. He goes by the name of John Park.
Yeah.
If you follow him on Instagram, you would know him as Iconic Eruption. And it's a blessing because he is actually blessing our presence with his face. Normally he's got his mask on, but tonight he said, fuck it, mask off.
Mask off.
You feel me? So we appreciate you being here and joining us, brother.
You guys.
Yeah, and he is the beast and hype beast. And I mean that as a term of endearment. You know, he's always copping the Supreme drops. He has a very extensive shoe game, and this is somebody that is very well versed in all things, you know, I want to say pop culture, because everything that's popular right now in our little subculture is everything that this man embodies. So we appreciate you being here. Oh, we got some audio issues. What's happening? Oh, I seen a belt too. Look, he was trying to like subtly flex. He was like, oh, I'm gonna come like, you know, tone down a little bit, but then he pulled his shirt up. I seen that belt. Yep. Dropping them bombs. I see you, my G. For the people that are watching and listening on Dash Radio, please give them a little bit of intro about yourself. Tell them who you are, what you do, and just let them know.
So basically, I'm just a regular guy.
Okay.
Humble as fuck.
No. Regular guy, just like you guys. You know, love fashion, love sneakers. Started loving sneakers from 1990.
Nice.
So 1990, I came to States from Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in 7th grade. So I guess people can calculate now
How old you are. Hey, it's all good. Asian and black don't crack. You feel me? It's like, especially with Asians, like you go from like 16 to 90. Like there's no in between.
Yeah. So I mean, I try to stay young, but so basically 1990, I came to States from Korea, and the whole sneaker game started then, because I remember walking into a gym. I spoke no English, but I saw this guy playing basketball, and I still remember this day. There was Jordan 5. Black metallic. And I remember thinking, it's like, oh, that shoe is hot. That kicks are hot. And I wanted it. And then I figured back then, you know, you don't know anything about fashion. You just want to play basketball. I want to make new friends, right? But don't speak English. But going to basketball, you know, playground, playing basketball, getting, you know, buying shoes. You know, back then I was in Seattle. We had a store called Locker Room. I don't know if people know. It's like, you know. So I still remember going to the Locker Room. You know, kid from Korea, getting my first Jordan 5, black metallic, and that's how it all started.
And that was the one that got you hooked.
That was the one that got me hooked.
Damn.
And ever since.
That seems to be the shoe of like a lot of people, like a super memorable one. From
The first one.
Jordan 5.
The metallic 5, like it being like a polarizing, like Afro.
The
He
Afro
didn't even
case.
know what Jordan was until that shoe came out, and he saw it. He's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's dope, dude.
Right. And then ever since, you know, it's been going on. And I remember, you know, watching Michael Jordan on TV.
Right.
But
and you were old enough at that time to actually like
absolutely.
understand and appreciate it.
I was 13, so you know, you have to understand. Like I didn't speak English, but I was a kid. But you don't need to speak English when you play basketball.
Right.
When you're talking about shoes, you know, when you're watching Michael Jordan on, you know, NBC, right? You still remember the music, you know, right? Right? You know? There's no ESPN back then. I mean, there was an ESPN, but ESPN wasn't yet, you know, today. So.
And it was on TNT.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
and then,
sick,
you know, Bob
man.
Costas.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then ever since, that's how I got into the whole sneaker game. I was always into fashion back then. You know, that's when Stussy, Massimo's, they kind of came out.
Damn, Massimo.
And North Face.
Yep.
Like I remember in high school, if you had North Face, you were the shit.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Like you were the popular guy, right?
I had a friend who had a matching backpack pants,
Yeah.
and fucking jacket.
Right.
All
God
yellow.
damn.
It was so obnoxious. Like, what the fuck? it was like, I guess what like all the younger dudes wearing like polo and shit.
Yeah.
It was like that. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like Polo, Hill figures, you know. They
For
were
my
hot.
generation, that was first down. Having them first down coats, like that was the same shit.
So I mean, make the long story short, that's how I got into the whole game. Went to college, started as a stockbroker. I worked at Beverly Hills office, Merrill Lynch,
Oh wow.
but I only worked there for about a year. But like I was saying before, TSA and all those skateboarding apparels.
Yeah.
So one of my clients was a big investor when I worked at Merrill Lynch, but I didn't want to be a stockbroker. So I called him up one day and I said, hey, I want to come and learn the business. And he actually had a lot of apparel businesses. So he was making socks and t-shirts in China. He had a woman's line from Indonesia or something like that. So I just basically went to him and I said, hey, I'm gonna quit my job. I wanna go work for you. And he actually had TSA, it's like a true skateboarders apparel or something like that. That's what it stands for, right?
Yeah.
From Santa Ana,
Yep.
right? So back then I didn't know anything about that. But he basically said, hey, maybe you can be that bridge between
Right.
me and guys like that. And I told him that's exactly what I can be. So coming from Merrill Lynch, I went to Santa Ana warehouse, started as cleaning bathroom, like sweeping the floors, making boxes, and shipping out stuff when we got orders. And that's how I got into the whole game. And then from that, I worked in that industry for a little bit. And then I got connected to Fat Farm. I told you a little bit about
we
that, right?
talked about that too,
Fat
yeah.
Farm, Sean and all those brands.
Yeah, speak on that a little bit, because
Yeah, 'cause
at that
that
point,
was
when,
impactful.
at the moment in time when you were over there, Fat Farm was crushing
Yeah,
it.
so Fat Farm was crushing. Echo, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, the Puff Daddy came a little bit later, the Sean John came a little bit later,
yeah.
but Fat Farm was so big back then.
that
So
whole-
I worked in the t-shirt sector, but it was so big back then. So a lot of younger guys probably don't understand anymore,
Right.
right? They have the streams and all that stuff.
Yeah,
now, but
the game is not the same
yeah,
as
the
it
game was
back
totally
then.
different. We had no social media.
Right.
There was there was a cell phone, but we had a StarTag, right? There was no internet on my cell phone, so
Yeah.
people don't understand, right? So, and computer was still AOL.
Yep.
Yeah, do you still remember?
pretty much
AOL?
all it was good for.
right?
Fuck yeah, for real.
I still remember what was the Explorer name? It wasn't Internet Explorer. It was something else, like
Netscape?
Yeah.
Netscape Navigator. Yeah.
And when you log on, you hear the sound like the first sound, right?
Yeah, the youth don't understand
Yeah,
that.
so people
That
don't
was the struggle.
understand.
Yeah, so shopping wasn't the same at
Yeah,
all.
so
Nah.
shopping
Yeah,
was
it
totally
wasn't.
different.
There was no
thing.
e-commerce.
Nothing was the same.
But
Yeah.
that's
Turn
what I-
that computer on in the middle of the night if you want to jerk
but that's what
off.
I said. Yeah. It was easier to put the tape in.
Right.
Exactly.
Go steal a fucking VHS from one of your uncle's
exactly.
bed and
Right.
put that
But
shit
then you
in.
gotta
like-
rewind it to the same spot.
Put it back.
That's
And
exactly.
pat it with like real shit. And find it.
And making sure your mom's not walking in either, right?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is if your remote's not working, you're fucked.
Volume on one, trying to listen to the floor creak and shit.
You wanted to hear a little bit of it.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
You can't just listen to the sound of yourself jerking off.
exactly.
Like, you gotta have a little bit of like,
wrestling that doesn't do it.
So it was totally different, like we're
Yeah.
saying. So people like, Russell Simmons, they could have that monopoly where like they had jackets, t-shirts. So Fat Farm operation was so big, you don't understand. They were doing socks, denim, t-shirts,
yeah,
Everything.
everything, yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
for real.
And,
Head to toe.
and how we shopped was we go to Macy's, we go to shopping
big
malls, and
department
you
stores.
look at it.
Yeah.
And because you only have so much information compared to now, the information is so limited. Once you
Yeah.
like Fat Farm, you want to get the Fat Farm socks, denim, the outerwears, and t-shirts, and the hat. And on MTV, you'll see the guys that that
Yep.
are rocking it,
Yep.
and that's about it. The MTV was what we're seeing, see on Hypebeast or whatever on Instagram.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
no.
Yeah.
We lived through it, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Seeing
So-
shit on like Run's house and all that.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
was
So-
yeah.
That's how I got into that business, and then I worked. I don't remember, so about 3-4 years. We had a good run. And then I left, and I was kind of getting to 30s where like I kind of do my own business and stuff like that.
Right.
And making brands was tougher than is tougher than people think.
Absolutely.
And you need a lot of money, and you have to work with right people. You need right celebrities and all that. And I kind of got sick of all that game, and I kind of got out of it. I stayed in the fashion industry, but more on the production side of it. So I had my own fabric company that worked with some of the like women's clothing, Forever 21s, H&Ms. But on the side, I had a denim business. You guys know, right? So I had a denim business. I have a denim business partner, who makes the best denims in the world. 7 Jeans and Trues, Hudson Jeans, when they first came out on the market. Yeah. So I mean, do you remember 7 Jeans when they first came out on the market?
I do. I used to work at the Buckle back in Kansas City, Missouri, and I sold them shits to all the fucking bad bitches.
When 7 for All Mankind came out, I think everybody, whether you're fashion guy or whether you're guys that were shopping at Target, I think everybody actually wanted
a pair of 7 Jeans.
I knew of them.
Yeah,
I didn't ever have a
absolutely.
pair. I knew of them.
Okay.
Yeah, them
And
shits
I knew
wasn't
that everybody
cheap.
wanted a pair. People run
Yeah.
around like they're like shoes today. Like I got a pair of these.
Right, exactly. Like that was the first when the term premium denim came out.
Yep.
They call themselves premium denim, and that's how I got into the business, and that's who I am.
There you
That's
go.
it.
yeah,
And
man.
then,
Dope, man.
aside from it, like you said, I don't try to be a hype beast,
Yeah, and
She was a
I didn't mean
motherfucker.
that.
I like-
You a beast.
but I see what I like, like like the Off-White and Nike Air Max. Like I didn't cop it because I was overseas, and when they're dropping it,
Yeah.
chances are this weekend I'll be chasing
You'll
it.
have a pair.
Yeah.
Whether I go to Fairfax round 2 or I call somebody on eBay or some of my connections,
Yeah.
whatever's,
But see,
whatever I
that's the
can get.
beauty in it, though, because when I say hype beast, I mean it in a way of like, you're not like the youth today where they're going out and trying to get shit to flip or whatever. They may like it but don't appreciate it. I think you've been in the game for such a long time that you see things you like and you appreciate those and you go after what it is that you like. You're not just out here trying to cop everything just because it's hot right now.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
But you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And that you enjoy the chase.
No, absolutely.
Really.
And
Absolutely.
that's something we
That's
talk
the
about
biggest
too.
thing. I
Like
mean,
that,
I think we and John and I talked about it. I think you have to rock your stuff. You use the term rock it, right? Like wear it. kick it. But you see a lot of guys, like they buy it, and like they put it in their room. They're like, oh, it's so hard to wear it, But I tell those guys, hey, at the end of the day, it's just the shoes.
True. This is very
Right?
true.
Wear your shit.
Yeah, wear
I
your
understand
shit,
both
right?
sides of the
Yeah,
spectrum.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, no, don't get me wrong. I
Right.
have some shoes that I don't rock. I have it on my whatever office, and I treasure it. But at the same time, like when I go to clubs, like you see those guys, right? It's kind of funny, but I accidentally step on your shoes, and you get like so upset, like, dude, you step on my shoes. I'm not one of those guys. I'm like, it's like, hey, you step on my shoes, I'm okay with it. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They can be clean. It's just it's an item. They're like, your shoes are going to get dirty. You wear them on the ground.
I
end of
definitely
the-
used to overreact to that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I've moved on. That's for sure.
And also vice versa,
don't
like
celebrate
also even copying stuff too. Like I'm not one of those guys, like let's say, some brand was dropping something and you go there, you see the lines, people camping out. I mean, I get that, but at the same time, if I don't copy it, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Yes, I think that's part of the fashion is I see younger guys, they get so locked into what they want to cop. Like when they don't get it, it's just like, they
It's
get
devastating.
stressed.
Yeah.
It's like they get stressed out, and I'm like, it's just a shoe.
It's not that serious.
It's just a
Yeah.
shoe.
Yeah, they have not had terrible things happen to them in their
Right,
life.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah, we talked about it. We were all excited. I know Dano and I were both like went to Complex Con with like full intentions on copping some shit, and we completely got shit on and got nothing.
I've
We
never
went there
had
to
that
get-
much money in my pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
As I
Just
was
burning
like
a hole in your
this. Like,
pocket.
you're
Yeah,
ready
right.
to go. Let me buy shit. Oh, okay.
But we
Okay, I
couldn't.
guess
And so
not.
just it was what it was, and fucking. I mean,
I
I,
don't wanna
felt
keep
bad for
bragging
him
about it
because he
every
spent a
week.
couple hours waiting in a line and didn't get his shit.
But
Because that sucks. You know what I mean? To actually do the waiting,
Right.
And not get it. But like at the end of the day, it's like we went there. I saw that I wasn't gonna be able to get shit, and it was just kind of like,
Yeah.
You got
all right.
But it's
Yeah, you got
But I
some
didn't
shit.
get any of those fucking any of the drops.
Yeah.
I would have traded all that for a weird custom pair of Air Force Ones.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you got to work directly with Stash. And
Yeah,
that experience in itself, I think,
course.
makes up for missing out on a lot of the other stuff.
For sure.
Plus, I witnessed it. You know what I mean? It was through the gates. I was like,
Yeah, I saw him through the gates too. I felt like a fucking, like I was like
Like,
in a
look at
zoo trying to look in. Like, I want to be a part of this. Let me in, motherfuckers. And then it just wasn't happening. I got close, but it,
You know, I
it
got
just,
eyeballs all over me from security, like thinking I was going to scale that thing.
they could have taken one look at you and like, nah,
He's not gonna do it.
This nigga's harmless.
Boobs 420.
But that's the whole game.
Dude, that's
that's
actually my
how the whole game changed, right? That we talked about it.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up in high school, like, you know, buying Jordan 5, 6, 7, 8, or Jordan 11s, it wasn't like this today, right? There wasn't no resellers. I mean,
Right.
don't get me wrong. I don't hate on resellers, okay?
No,
they put in
there
they
needs
put in
to
their
be-
work, they put in their
yeah.
camp outs, and so they have to make their living.
They're
so I get
equally
that.
as important.
Yeah, they're equally as
The
important.
right
but-
ones, obviously.
But now with the whole the social medias and computers, eBays, and all these secondhand stores or consignment stores, that market is created, right?
Yep.
Whereas when I was in high school, that's what there was no such thing.
Right.
So-
we didn't see a new pair of Jordans
Yeah.
until MJ came out with them on his feet
exactly. And
during the
then
game.
everybody that wanted to cop, they could cop. It wasn't so much about like I have something you don't.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't want to go into such a sensitive subject. I don't want to offend anybody.
No.
No,
But
it's-
at the same
it's-
time,
Fuck
Yeah.
them.
yeah. But at the same time, the game, the fashion has changed with all this
Absolutely.
new technologies and the new stuff that we have on our hands. That before it was more about rocking what I liked.
Just being fresh.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
being fresh, right? And I like Fila. Like one of John and I love Fila, right? Like Fila is one of my favorite brands. So I like Fila because I like Fila. But I'm actually part of I don't want to say it's a problem, but one of the new trend is I cop stuff just to prove to other people that I can cop
That you can
this.
get it.
So to be honest, I think I bought it not because I really liked it. Maybe even inside I'm thinking, oh, this kind of ugly. Like, can I really pull this shit off? But I'm thinking, yeah, but I need to copy it because that's the hottest thing.
It's making a
a
statement.
Yeah, it's a statement. Like,
This is
you know,
kickback therapy, man.
Right. But
Yeah, you can come lay down over here.
I need a pillow.
I didn't really want it.
But I think we all been there, right? I mean, I've
yeah,
been
for
there.
sure.
I've been there for
100%.
sure.
Yeah.
But when I wasn't doing Instagrams and when I wasn't doing Facebooks, I didn't really care about that stuff. But now that I am in Instagrams and I know people, it's.
And
I
it
don't
took
do
you
all
a
the
while to
time.
get on Instagram too.
Yeah.
Like you kind of came in the game a little bit later.
I
too.
kind of came into the game late too. You
Yeah.
know? But once I'm in it, I try not to be like that. But I'm gonna come clean and say, sometimes I buy stuff just to prove to all these people that it's gonna press
Just to
likes on
shit
it.
on 'em.
Yeah, just to
Yeah.
say that you couldn't cop it. I copped it. It's a statement,
It's a
right?
little
It's
ego
kind of like
boost.
a car, right? It's kind of like a car, right? It's like,
Yeah.
hey, what do you want to drive a nice car?
Yeah, I know someone does that a lot around
You
here.
know, so it's like when you go to club, you
We ain't gonna say no names, but I think we all know who you're speaking on. Well, let me ask you this, because this is something that I don't want to say struggle with, but I've questioned before.
Yeah.
Do you think that your love will be different if you grew up in today's times with access to things in a different way? Whereas before we had to like build rapport with, skate shop owners or people at these boutiques, where now there is no real connection that has to be made. You just need to have internet connection.
Right.
And do you think that your love would be where it's at if you had access to it the way that you do now when you were younger?
That's a tough question, but I think it'll be different.
Yeah, it's hard to consider
Yeah,
how it would be during your time.
because I was lucky enough to have that both experience, right? Experience
Yeah.
where like
I think we
Well, I
all,
like the thought of like how you were saying earlier, how you came over from Korea and like the way you got to know the U.S.
Right.
culture was through like pop
No,
culture
absolutely.
mechanisms, and that's why you like absorbed
Right.
the specific stuff, and you're like a big fan of that shit.
Right.
It's a cool way to think about it.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have been exposed to the same shit.
You actually
You know.
play ball too, right?
yeah. But that's the whole point.
We're getting a hoop outside, so
Yeah.
you gotta come
We are
back.
getting
Oh shit.
Well, I get to show my form.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you hit it right on the money. Where 15, 20 years ago, let's just say Asians, okay? Like maybe Chinese people or Korean like myself. Maybe their fashion or their love for the fashion or their information on their pop culture was less than people, let's say, states, here or, in England or whatever.
Right.
But whereas now, it's like equal, right? Because, you see it on Instagram and internet.
Yeah.
That's why when you actually go to Fairfax and when you go to New York and when you go to all these, shops and stores and this brand's retail stores, you actually see everybody.
Every culture.
Right? Every culture now, right? And not only that, we're just talking about you going to Japan, but like when you go to Japan and Korea, I can promise you, you'll be, especially if it's your first time, you'll be shocking. Actually, they're ahead of the game a lot of times.
I had a homie that was stationed in Okinawa, I think it was, Japan, and he was just telling me like how far ahead fashion-wise they were, and it would take a couple years for it to trickle stateside, and then you would start to see it, and they would be onto something completely different by that time.
Like, I'm looking forward to that kind of exposure.
Yeah, it's
Best part of traveling.
and their mindset, we call it mania, right? The craziness.
Yeah.
It's beyond, I think, what you see here. Yeah, it's fanatical. Like exactly, that's the perfect word for it. I think people here do that too, but over there in Japan and Korea, I can actually tell you honestly, through people that I know, from my friends and all that, my little brothers that I met, from my days and working there and all that stuff. They may be making only, let's just say, $2,000 a month, but they'll save that so they can cop $1,000 pair of kicks, and they'll actually live in the car.
Wow.
God
That's
damn.
fucking crazy.
No, but it's true.
I make sacrifices, but not many.
Yeah. But it's
Wow. Have you ever had to deal with any type of like crazy lineup situations or anything involving like trying to cop a pair and having to deal with just like some fucking rowdy kids?
Not really. But last camp out that I did was the Supreme Louis Vuitton collab when they dropped it downtown.
Remember we talked about that? Yeah.
Foundations.
Oh, that's right. You were like my main source of info.
Yeah.
Because I was just seeing your posts.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I think I came in the next day with like,
Yeah, don't.
I saw this shit last night. You were like, don't
go. So that was actually the last time I camped out for something, and I haven't camped out for anything for about 10 years.
Damn.
But Supreme Louis Vuitton was important enough for me that I actually kind of want to do that myself.
Right.
And if he's watching, I went with a guy named Bruce. He's a hype beast himself. He's on Instagram.
Shout out to Bruce.
So we met through Instagram, right? So I actually kind of hit him up, say, hey, why don't you want to meet up? And he actually gave me all the information, where the pop-up's gonna be, what time it's gonna be. So I went there, and the rest is history.
Yeah, we all know what went down with that.
They were so unorganized. I mean, there were about 300 people, but you as a Supreme or Louis Vuitton couldn't expect 300 people lining up. Come on.
Yeah, they should have known.
Right, they should have
That
known.
ain't shit. I think there was like 1,800 people at fucking Blends the other day
Yeah.
for the Off-White.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
This is Supreme Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
This is like
Right.
the fucking
But
grand
how
collaboration of all
unsafe,
time.
unorganized. So they had to call the cops. The SWAT team actually came in.
Yeah.
There was a helicopter. There was a helicopter. There's like 2 helicopters flying. And I'm just
I
going,
know this because of you.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
posted something, and I'm just going, SWAT team?
Right.
That's like,
I wonder if they thought the price point was going to keep like people away or like hoodlums away, but even still, it's like Supreme heads, that
No,
they're
they know the turnaround on that shit. They will go get the money. They
exactly.
Need to buy it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sell
But
the
I mean,
fucking
you see the
house.
resale price on their stuff.
Yep.
It's, people take out loans to do that.
It's astronomical. Yeah.
So again, I think there's no right answers, no right or wrong answers to this fashion craziness and what we're talking about. Once again, I'm part of the problem myself.
We all are in a small, like, it's a drop in the bucket, but yes, we all do kind of like fall victim to a lot of the things that are going on right now. And it's hard not to, because I think all of us here on this panel share the same passion for it, you know? So it's like you go to extremes sometimes when it comes to things like this that you genuinely care about or want to be a part of or have. And that all, you know, feeds into the bigger
do you guys
beast.
sometimes wonder about, can a brand can come up with a better system so everyone can equally buy stuff, kind
Trinidad
of
was
share
talking
stuff?
about this on snkrINC show, actually. Him and his boy come up with a relatively simple idea, and it's based on the whole like Nike Stash thing. It's about like, you know, you have to be on the location, and then it like automatically gets you into some sort of raffling system through that. You know what I mean? But it's not like anyone anywhere in the U.S. or the world can do it. Like you still have to go and be involved, and I think that's another step in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think that they can do that with multiple locations. You know, not to like just put it in LA and New York and Miami. Like they have to be able to do it, you know, across the nation to give people a fair chance. But I do think it's better.
That sounds like it though. Like for real. Like if you, this is where you need to be. Like it's there's no line in a sense because
and if it's not
just
on your phone, you don't get a pair.
Right.
And
that's
I mean,
it.
like it's not like you can muscle your way
500
up.
people go to to fucking MacArthur Park or some shit and stand there for a second.
That's the best place to do it.
That would be the worst. But whatever, you know what I mean? Like you're in this fucking big
right by the
open
lake.
space. Yeah. You're not fucking interrupting traffic. You're not fucking causing a scene.
And there's
you're
no
not closing off stores.
Right there,
you're not causing
like,
a problem.
Yeah.
You don't have to be first in line, so there's no fights, no bullshit. And then you're boom, it opens you up, and you go in, and now you're part of the raffle, and it goes off,
and tells you where you can pick up your location, the location you can pick up at what time. Like, there needs to be a way to limit the fucking like hostility in these lines and shit now.
I hadn't felt that in so long. Like you, I don't line up anymore.
Yeah, I don't line up.
I just don't want to do that shit. And then, but this time I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
It was like a weird like, oh god, this is how it used to be. I don't miss this at all.
Yeah, it's terrible, man. We just Jack, our producer, sent me something earlier about like some stuff that was going on in the Off-White lines, and it's sad to see. And then I was, researching topics for tonight's episode, and I came across a story from New Jersey. Now, this doesn't have to do necessarily with a lineup or anything pertaining to that, but it is still a problem within the sneaker community. So just to kind of brief you a little bit on what's going on, a father of 11 was stabbed to death defending his son from a sneaker robbery. And according to NJ.com, a New Jersey man by the name of Jose Mig Malave, age 30, died in front of his girlfriend and 4 of his children earlier this week. Malave's 8-year-old son was almost robbed of his sneakers earlier in the day by a group of teenagers, and the group later showed up to the Palisade Ave home thinking the young boy had other nice things. A 17-year-old boy has been charged with felony murder, armed burglary, weapons offenses, and conspiracy. His name has not been released because he is a juvenile, and the shoes in the center of the crime were not named. Right. So this, first of all, condolences to his family and his loved ones. Yeah, this is a tragic, thing to have to talk about. But what are your thoughts on something like this? Like, why is this? Like, why? Let me give you this question, and I know you may not necessarily be able to answer, but I think it's something that we could talk about. Why do you think this subculture has gotten so big and so, it's just like kind of overgrown its shell? Why is it that people are now fighting and taking other people's lives for something that's just, pieces of material stitched and glued together?
Right.
I mean, dude, this shit is, first off, like you said, condolences. It's unavoidable.
Yeah.
There's no avoiding that. Right. Like, at the end of the day, if the products and the things that we choose to put on our bodies have accrued value, that's money. Right. So you're walking around with money on your back, money on your feet, whatever it is. Right. And if that looks like something that somebody else can take and use for something else, and it's currency now. So you're walking around with your currency out. You know what I'm saying? I don't wear a necklace with all of the money that I have on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not you don't flash it, right? You don't show it all over the place. So again, this is our way to like flash our money or that being fresh turns into flashing your money in a sense, where it's like, that might not be your goal, but at the end of the day, you are bringing it to Front Street. Right. So the idea that somebody's gonna, kill somebody over some sneakers it's essentially it's the same thing as somebody killing somebody over some money. A senseless mugging, a senseless robbery.
Right.
You know, the shit is fucked up. That
And to your point, like they literally went to his home after the fact because they
thought
saw
they
the
had
shoes
more
that he
stuff.
had and they thought that they would have more stuff at
Right.
home. Like, and it says
Yeah,
it was a
goes
group of
beyond sneakers. At that
right.
point,
It was a
where
group
it's
of
like,
teenagers. There was
fucking
one kid that was charged with the actual murder, so we don't know the the full story of who all was involved and what all happened. But it's just at that point, like, why? My thing is like, why was a group of, and this is New Jersey. I don't necessarily know like the climate of like crime and things out there, but it's like, why was a group of 17-year-old kids fucking with an 8-year-old?
right.
You know,
And what
like,
shoes did an 8-year-old have?
That's what I'm
on?
saying.
What size
Yeah.
fucking shoe or
Yeah.
which
That was the
robbery?
point I was
Yeah.
trying to make. The troubling sign of the age. Like the robbery, it's been going on ever since.
Of
Whatever,
course.
right?
Right,
You know,
yeah.
I
That's
want
the
something you
throwback.
have. I cannot
That's
afford something I
1990.
wanted. So
Yeah, that
you know,
was from
30,
back in the
40,
day.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
But when a 17 years old guy, a student, so to speak, want a pair of sneakers so bad that he wants to kill somebody or hurt somebody, that's what's troubling, right?
Sure,
fucking
that's an
8-year-old.
actual
Yeah,
problem.
soon it's gonna be 15, 14, right? You know, like, but it's always gonna be there because some 14-year-old will be able to afford some kicks compared to some 14 may not be able to afford.
Right.
That's the stuff that we cannot control, right? That's just the way it is,
Yeah.
right? But the thing is, if you're like, like if somebody's stealing your bread, like I'm so hungry, I'm stealing your bread, compared to I like your sneakers, so I'm gonna, stab you. And I'm 16, 15, 17. I think that's troubling. But
That's very troubling.
Very-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good way
this
to
is
put it.
this
but,
is
but
not
it's not
a-
gonna. I don't think it's gonna get any better. It's probably gonna get worse as time goes along.
I mean, this
It's
is a
just
problem with the,
unfortunate.
not the sneaker community.
Right,
This is
right.
a problem with the community at large. Like this
Yeah.
is just in general.
Right?
Like,
And that's
not-
something we're talking about. Like, was that the case? Was this person hungry, dying? They needed money, so they killed this person for their shoes. I don't think that's.
I don't
the
think
case.
that. Yeah.
of course
I don't think
You know
that
what I
was
mean?
the
They want
That's
situation.
like vindictive. Like, it sounded like you said it was a group, a 17.
Yeah, originally it was a
one.
group, but it was one that was charged with the actual,
He was
crime.
one that actually did
Yeah.
the
Right.
stabbing.
Yeah, and it's just sad that, because to your point, like these kids probably weren't hungry. They probably weren't dying. They weren't living on the streets. They probably saw what they thought was an easy lick because he was a child. Didn't cooperate. I don't know if I didn't get the full story. I don't know if they followed him home or just knew him and knew where he lived or whatnot. But they felt the need to later go to this child's house. Don't know who his family is. Don't know what
Yeah.
he's got there.
What are they thinking?
And decide that because you're wearing a pair of I don't know what he was wearing, but because you have this shoe on your feet that puts you at this status, that there's going to be
Right.
more that they can get from you at home. Like that's just
dollars to donuts. It was some fucking Yeezys.
Yeah.
could be, man. I just
I was definitely thinking what pair it was. For some reason, I
Not
was
that it
immediately
matters.
going off.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
no,
Not that it
no,
matters
not at all.
but
Not at all.
It's man, it is just a fucked up thing. Like, at the end of the day, it's like, how do you? There's no preventing that, and I'm damn sure I would bet money that if somebody's fucking starving, hungry like that, where like I need to steal to eat, they're not paying attention to sneaker drops.
Exactly.
No shit.
Exactly.
They don't know what the fuck is hot and what's
Right.
not.
Yeah,
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. There's a level of like
course.
necessity when it comes to that point. Like you're doing some other shit, but I don't know, man. I definitely have. I've had thoughts like back when my collection was pretty large.
Yeah.
Like there would be times when I would leave my house and I would I don't know if I should leave my blinds open. Like nothing has ever happened to me in this magnitude, obviously, but like whenever you do have something, and we do have platforms like Instagram now where our ego gets in the way and we flex a lot of the times, and people know what you have, and if they see, like, say you post something on your story like you're at Chick-fil-A or whatever, they know you're not at home, and if they know where you live and they know what you have, then it's possible for those things to happen.
Right.
And that's something that has crossed my mind many a times
Oh.
before, where it's like, fuck, man, is this
Absolutely.
it's kind of like a gift and a curse. Like, yeah, I had access to these and I had the times where I was able to cop all this stuff, but then it's like, fuck, I could be showing off to somebody that may just see me as like the
Exactly.
next lick. And it's hard to really, like seeing stuff like this and seeing people get beat up in lines for off-white
Yeah.
Jordans and shit. Like it's just,
Yeah.
it's a tough pill to swallow,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
knock it off.
Yeah, am I
It's
making myself
serious,
fresh or am I
yeah.
making myself a target?
Yeah,
Exactly. That's the line. It's like, am I doing this as just something that I enjoy and I
Right.
want to present it, or
Right.
am I being a target? And are people really watching me? Like, you don't want to live that paranoid life, but it's hard to.
But
Not
thing
to
is-
bring up Afro kicks again, but he said it once where he's like, yeah, are these people flexing like, oh, they're hard because they're stealing people's shoes?
Yeah.
Like, you're not hard at all. Like,
Right.
get the fuck out of a sneaker line or bothering
Yeah.
an 8-year-old. Like, what the
Right.
fuck? You're not
Yeah.
hard because of that.
Right.
That's
And
not
one of
make
our
you
past
cool.
guests, Drophy, he said like there was a
for
time
sure.
when his whole collection got, his house got broken into and his whole collection got stolen. And that was like a turning point for him where he was like, fuck man, I'm gonna just start wearing everything. Like I don't
Yeah.
really, like I don't care anymore because you see the worst thing that could happen has happened.
Yeah.
And it's all the stuff that you held on this pedestal that you were collecting and wanted to, save. And
Right.
it's
But see, in this
troubling.
case, the fucked up thing is there's no fine line between, like you said, flexing and being a target. Because I know for one, he's really doing this stuff, wearing stuff, rocking stuff, because John likes this stuff. He's not trying to flexing. He's not trying to flex anything. Like, hey, I got bigger chain than you. That's not what he's trying to do. But then it all depends on what other people think what you're doing, right? It doesn't matter. It's not like I can have a sign on my forehead. It's like, hey, dude, I'm not flexing, dude. I actually like it. I actually like
That should be the next Supreme Legend.
Yeah, I'm not
Yo.
not flexing.
Yeah, I gotta trademark this shit on t-shirt. I'm not actually flexing, right?
for real.
But I mean, really, I'm actually like really wearing stuff because I like something.
Yeah.
But other people in line might think, hey, that motherfucker is flexing. So it's not really
It's
sure
super
what's
It
up,
is.
right?
It's
It
everyone's
is.
perspective.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's no
It's
fine
crazy,
line.
man.
There's nothing I can do about it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I was listening to.
So you gotta have the t-shirt.
And that guy's like, oh, look, he's fine. He's really humble.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I was listening to Jesus and Mero's podcast, Bodega Boys, and they were talking about how there was a point in time in their lives where it's like you don't know that you're hating because you aren't on that level yet. Like you haven't had like successes, you haven't had things that will make you appreciative of that stuff. And Jesus was like, man, you don't know what the fuck's going on through your mind when you're malnourished and you don't know like how you gonna pay your bills and shit. And he's like, you're just looking at people as like, man, this motherfucker, like, I'll take you out. Like just that's how, you know what I mean? So it's hard to gauge that stuff because you don't know what people are battling in their own minds. And we don't know what this 17-year-old, like he may have come from a troubled home. We, like the options, the possibilities are endless. Like we don't know what his background was, but I just, to your point, man, just knock it out. Like knock it off. Like we don't, like it's not worth it.
Right.
Like this young man will probably be tried as an adult and probably have to spend the majority of his like formative years behind bars.
And he should. I think.
And I
Yeah,
think
he
that
killed
makes an
someone's
example of
father in front of them?
yeah.
That's fucked.
And it's just, it makes an example, and unfortunately it had to be at the cost of someone's life.
Right.
But this is, to anybody that is, watching or listening, like it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Like there's so many other things that you can do, like so many other ways of making money. Like I understand being down and out and having, things not go your way, but it just seemed like this guy was just a troubled teen out for,
Absolutely.
And
the
that's
wrong
half
reasons.
the reseller market too. A big portion of it is people that just want to get shit themselves.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So they'll flip a couple of things so it pays for their shirt or whatever,
Right. Yep.
So it is what it is. Like I'm hating, but not hating on that whole.
I lose sight of that angle of it.
That's a part of it.
I just lump them into the whole like, oh, you don't care about this shit at all. You're just buying it.
Right. So there is
But there
that
are-
whole part of it where
there's
they have
some
no
gray
idea.
area
They
there.
don't care. It's just it's a way to make money. But then there are people that actually
So I have
want to
a,
get it themselves.
so I
and
have a
this is how
little
they can.
Yeah.
idea on like that stuff that you just talked about. I don't think it's a perfect solution at all. I don't think so. But as far as kicks, let's say if I own a retail store and I do a raffle and you win something, what I would do is you have to wear it out. At least, I mean, of course they can wear it out 10 steps, they can go to their car and they can take it off and they
Right.
can clean it up. And
You're like, no,
I
all
get
the
that.
way
Yeah,
off. All the way.
that I can, but at least to a point, that alone will get a lot of resellers out.
Sure, and it's their
Then-
size, most likely.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if we talked about it here, if I was talking to somebody just like about it, but there was a drop where there was a store that kept the boxes and the people had to leave with their size and the shoe.
And the shoe.
I don't know if they had to
know
wear it
that.
out, but they had to be their size and they didn't get to keep the box and they had to leave with the,
I like
the shoe.
I like
I know, and that's part of like the storage for me too.
like
But,
the box, yeah.
but then that makes it like, you know, you can go get these drop front boxes like we have here and shit like that, but at the same time, like if you're trying to sell it, like that's a big portion of selling your shoes. DS, like it has to have the right box, you know.
no
so,
box
so-
is a problem.
Yeah, and it has to be their size.
Clark, so I was talking with DJ Clark Kent, and he was telling me a story. Mr. Clark, Mr. Kent,
Mr. 112.
Mr. 112. He did, I forget which drop it was. It might have been the 112s, or it might have been I think he was telling me he did some sort of like friends and family thing around that same time. And it was an Air Force One, of course. And he did.
the Black Fridays?
I think that's what it
Oh,
was.
yeah, it
The
probably
Black
was.
Fridays.
Yeah.
Yeah, where
yeah.
he did something where he basically said anybody that showed. Now I don't know if it was that, but he did
I just went
it
to
was
the
a
interview.
T-shirt thing. Okay, so was it that then? Where basically he was like, "Yo, if you show up here and buy this T-shirt, I'm gonna give you a free pair of these kicks." And it was like his Air Force that he made.
Yeah.
And there was only a limited amount of them, and it was like a spot in Brooklyn. And if you showed up and like bought this T-shirt, you got the fucking kicks that go with it. And it was like, basically you're getting a free pair of sneakers. You buy this fucking $24 T-shirt or whatever it was, but you had to wear them out, and it had to be your size.
Those weren't the
Yeah.
Black Fridays.
And it was.
They weren't?
No.
Oh, okay.
So that was his whole thing. It was like, I'm giving you these shoes, but you ain't reselling them like
Yeah.
DS. Like there was no DS pair, period.
I
Like,
could be wrong, but the Black Fridays, the whole thing there was that they were on sale
Oh, that's another one.
from the get. Like they released on a Black Friday, but it was like, and people were like buying, like they didn't.
that's one of the stories that we
yeah.
got with him. Yeah, exactly. Like he
that
did
people
it.
didn't really get it. They would like realize afterwards, like, wait, these were only like 70.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He did a sale without saying it was a sale.
Like it was like
So he
you
was
would
like,
never
"Yo,
see
Black
the new
Friday is supposed to be about
products on
sales.
sale.
Right.
Like Black Friday is about sales, and it's like, but all this shit will come out Cyber Monday, Black Friday, whatever.
Yeah.
It's still the same fucking price.
Yep.
It's just another excuse for a release.
Right.
So what he did was he did his Black Friday thing
On
and
sale.
and
I
it was
think
on
like
sale,
Black
but like you
Friday.
went, and you thought you were about to pay.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
110 or whatever, and when it
Yeah,
rang
like
up, it was
$70.
like $60 or something.
Uh-huh.
It was just like, wow, no shit. Like
That's
the ill
it.
come up, not
Damn.
announced. Like again, going towards people wanting
The
people
consumer.
to get a good deal, but
Yeah.
not be
Yeah.
like, oh shit, I can go there and get this good deal and flip it.
Flip it.
Like you get a deal because you liked it, you wanted it, and
Yep.
now I'm giving you a nod. Like
Yeah.
you know, and that shit that's ill.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for liking shoes.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Clark.
I know, right?
But then again, that's why I said it's a sensitive subject, because I want to make it clear, I don't hate on resellers. I mean, I understand. I mean, some resellers are legit. Like they're putting
of
their
course.
time in. When I'm sleeping, they're camping out,
Oh yeah.
and they're making their living through that way. So who am I to judge how you're making your money? As long
Yep.
as it's legal.
Did you make your whole living through that? I can't even imagine.
Yeah, but I
No
mean,
way.
there are guys that are making.
Look at
films
Benjamin
with it,
Kicks.
right? So, it's legal, right? So they're not selling drugs to some 12-year-old or whatever. So,
Right.
so I'm not a judge. I don't need to judge you. You're a reseller, you're a person who's rocking it, you're a hypebeast. But as a guy who likes to wear stuff, like you, when I'm in line and I see guys, 90% of the guys in there, I just know
Yeah.
they're there for the money, and I'm thinking, I want to tell the brand owners or whatever, those guys, hey, you sell to me, I'm gonna wear my stuff.
Yeah.
I have that
Yeah.
conversation all the time.
Yeah, well, you sell to them.
It's helping him out a lot. He drops
Yeah, you
out.
sell to
Yeah,
them,
I
and
drop
they're
that
gonna
one a
flip
lot.
it, and you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's just there's no right or wrong. I just want to make
No,
that
yeah,
clear.
exactly.
I'm only speaking from my point of view.
Yep.
So, but if I was a reseller, I'll be probably sitting here thinking, hey, I'm putting my time in. I'm not cutting in any lines. I'm camping out when you're sleeping. So what's the problem here, right? So it is what it is.
True story.
And if people like myself are not buying it, they won't exist. But I'm buying from them too.
Right, yeah, yeah.
So, call me a hypocrite or whatever, you know? It is
But
what
it's
it is.
because you actually want it, and like
Yeah.
you're privileged enough, and you're in a spot in your life where you can afford that.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's like, well, I still want to have it. So the
Right.
only way I will really be able to get it is
Right.
if I feed into this machine,
Right.
and that's just
I
a part
want
of it. Like,
That's
yeah.
the easy way to get it. Whereas camping out overnight, I just couldn't do it.
Yep.
You know,
And we
it's
see
dangerous.
now why it's not
Yeah,
it's not safe.
dangerous. I mean, speaking of which, I remember now. I didn't camp out actually. I lined up for some drops when Nike Town was still at Rodeo Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still remember there was a huge line right when the door opened. There's this mob of couple guys, like about 20 guys. You know, they look pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, but again, I'm in the wrong position for me to say it because that's their appearance-wise. You can just kind of tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe who knows? They could have been Harvard grad, but from appearance, I can
Or
tell.
teddy bears.
Yeah,
Really nice
yeah,
things.
exactly.
Yeah.
But they just cut in right from the line. The guys they
Well,
were
then
waiting.
they're assholes.
Yeah, but we couldn't say anything. I wasn't gonna say nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
You don't want to put yourself
by 20
in
guys over.
right.
No,
You don't want to put
yeah.
yourself in
Sneaker,
danger
it's
for
not
some
worth
But
fucking
at the same
shoes.
time, I'm thinking to the Nike guys, I'm like, well, you gotta control the crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, they weren't even scared.
Yeah.
So they knew the guy. They were like, "Yeah, we're open now. Like, here are your Jordans." And you see 20 guys and walking, like, "Hey, fucking, I don't care what the fuck is mine." As a Nike employee, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, he not about to die by the swoosh.
Go
like,
back to the line, sir. You know what I mean, right? So
Yeah.
I understand that too.
and
right?
nobody love their job that much.
Yeah, it should never go down like that. That was so wrong.
I know. I mean, it is what it is. I remember I came to LA around the time where they started to try and cut back on that. So they were doing like the Twitter thing where like you had to sign it or DM with your size and number, and then they had like photos of like figure out which word is in this that corresponds with the drop and all. So they like got, they started to get more into the technology of it too, but
And
it
then
was
the
just.
fucking bot makers started.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, exactly. And like then the bots came in. So it's like anytime they try and elevate it, there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna
of course
undercut
come in and
it, you know?
swoop in.
Yep.
We're running a little bit low on time, so I'm gonna touch on something real quick. You mentioned Black Pony here, so I want to skip to this topic and see if we can get through it.
Oh hell no. I know where you're going with this. Yeah. I love it.
Cameron and Reebok are
I want to
collaborating
see some
on a
photos of these disgusting things.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Cameron and Reebok are collaborating on a DMX Run 10 inspired by Harlem. They're back together for another edition to their long-standing partnership with the Reebok DMX Run 10 in a blacked out colorway inspired by Harlem Nights. Unique materials like fish scales are used on Cameron, used to represent Cam's love for tilapia and pony hair that is linked in his signature fur coat.
Really?
The design is finished off with a few personal touches like metal tongue badge that reads "Killer" and Killer. And elements of some of his most popular lyrics featured on the sock liner and packaging. And one thing I did notice from the photos that I saw later is it says Dipset and 3M up the tongue, which
That's
I
kinda
thought
dope.
was fucking
That's
ill.
the only cool thing on this shoe. As far
So
as I'm
ill.
concerned.
And Cam and Jim Jones just dropped a new song, and I think there is a new Dipset project coming out, which I'm
Yeah,
super
that I saw
fucking
right
hyped
before
about.
this guy.
Yeah, I saw
Man.
Zeke post something. I was like, all right.
Ooh, and that shit sounds
So
good.
I'm a huge fan of this shoe. We've talked
Yeah,
about
so
it
what
a
are your
lot.
thoughts
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Left the DMX.
I hate this one though.
What?
And I'm even like growing into all black shoes and stuff,
Yeah.
but like this is just it just seems like the heaviest, clunkiest boot-like version. Of
Can we
the
get some
DMX
other photos
runner.
that like
Yeah, you can't see the
you
pony
can't really
hair.
see like I fuck
For
with it.
tilapia?
I love
Hey.
the
Bullshit.
tilapia.
Hey, he loves tilapia,
He
man.
does, yeah, there's all that chef shit. Him,
Yeah.
he does like tilapia.
There's the
but
pony hair
That's not
toes, yeah.
tilapia scales.
But it's reminiscent.
Wow, that's the Tony here.
Yo,
Yeah.
I fucks with him, and I don't like. I know,
way.
of course.
I even that you like dark shoes. I didn't think you liked the shoe enough.
I mean, I'm
to
probably
do
not
this.
gonna get him, but
Yeah.
like, I think it looks good. I don't know,
Plus
like
those heavy leather eyelets. Like, come on.
heavy
It looks a
leather
little
eyelids.
orthopedic.
Yeah, it looks
in a
like
way.
looks like one of the Wu-Tang boots, like a Godam. You know what I mean? Like the Nike. That's what it looks like.
Jesus, Dano.
It's just
and you
low-top
love
version.
this
He
shoe.
loves
I love
this
this
shoe.
shoe. Love this shoe.
I really thought you was gonna be feeling it.
No.
That's what
I would have
too.
liked to see some pink. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah,
like
Pink version, I would have bought 3 pairs.
ooh, kill
Go
them.
back to the Reebok, like the ventilator
Yeah,
2s.
like the ventilators
Yeah,
and the
like that. I'm in all day. All
the
pink
second
pair
one he
of
did
these.
because there was like pink and purple.
Imagine
but
those bubbles in pink. How good they would look.
ooh, you might be onto something.
So
Yeah,
all
you
pink
might be
pairs,
onto
same
White
shoe.
midsole still. You gotta have a white midsole.
Okay, white midsole.
I don't think. I think the white midsole
gotta
because the
walk
way
on a
this
cloud.
midsole is. I think the white midsole would fuck it
Yeah.
up.
The white midsole is how it is on my other one.
I know, but I'm saying like if you did all pink on this one,
Yeah.
No,
You
I'm
would-
saying white midsole.
I know, and I'm saying that
pink
would be.
bubbles.
I don't think I would enjoy it because of the way the midsole comes up in the back and shit like that. That's all I'm saying.
You, want, you want it more.
Right.
I think yeah. I think a tonal
it's so
pink would be-
predominant. That's what you're
Right.
saying.
Right.
Too much white.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah. Too much
And how do you
white.
feel
Just
about
like
that? Yeah, exactly.
everything else in life.
So am I saying this is too black?
Now we're really breaking it down.
Right, yeah.
I
like,
can't
so
read
you don't
it.
like it because it's black.
I guess we're getting down to it. Thank you for helping me get there. Should I lay down next on the couch? Yeah.
So Dano's not feeling it, which is the reason I wanted to skip to it because I thought that he might be really into it. What are your thoughts, John? And John, this is not your
I'm with
Steve.
Dano.
This is not your
Dano,
Steve.
he's out.
with
I couldn't
Dano,
even.
yeah.
I couldn't even see you
Yeah,
like
I see you in
entertaining
that.
that. No.
I
What if it
think
said Supreme on it?
No.
That's all the time we got.
Frankie, where do I look? Where's my closest camera? You're just going like this. Reebok, keep making DMX 10s, but just not that. Yeah, not that one.
Keep making them.
Yeah. Just keep making them.
I don't know. Just keep making them.
I like shoes.
I like dancing.
Jack, what were you trying to tell me?
We can't do inside jokes on this.
I know.
No
Yeah.
one knows what we're talking about.
Well, shit. I mean, I'm into it. I wouldn't wear them just because the silhouette of the shoe is too long and I got long ass feet.
Dude, a
But
size 14 of those would look
yeah, it would look
crazy.
insane.
I
It
have
would
a
be
size
crazy.
12 upstairs and they look like they would fit him.
Yeah, it's crazy. That shoe is very long, but I thought you would be into them. But apparently
Yeah,
I
no more
was wrong.
topics, no more time.
I don't know how much time we got, Jack. We like 10 minutes, 9 minutes.
There we go.
Cool.
All right, we can get into one more.
Do some more of this. Bring the shoes out.
You're a fan of Bape, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you will be happy to know that Bape and Adidas might be. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but they might be collaborating on a Dame Lillard 4.
Dude, I haven't seen these mock-ups yet.
Yeah. So Bape is.
Who did these? Who did these?
I don't remember
Do we know?
exactly. I think this is actually from.
This is what leaked?
Right. This is what leaked. There's a green
looks like a
pair and
picture
a
of the
black pair,
screen,
just
yeah.
like the NMDs.
That shit is sick.
So Bape's teaming up with Portland Trailblazers star Damian Lillard and Adidas to release a special edition Dame 4 that is rumored to release during the NBA All-Star Weekend in February. The Bape Adidas Dame 4 has not yet been unveiled, but renderings of the shoe recently hit the internet, giving fans a glimpse of what is in store. Now, like I said, this is supposed to be 2 colorways, this
John's
pair
in.
and black. Yeah. And I'm not even going to front. This is the first time, and we haven't even seen that physical shoe yet. This is the
No.
first time I've ever been excited about a Damian Lillard 4.
Yeah.
Like, I do not really fuck with that shoe, but with
You know,
the
it's funny
fucking
because
shark
this shoe
teeth.
is on Jack's desk and has been for weeks now, and we talk about it almost every day. Still, I'll pick it up, put my hand in it. It's a crazy shoe.
Yeah,
it looks and it feels like a really good performance shoe. I haven't put it on because it's too small
Yeah.
to do so, but it
And
looks like a
obviously it's
really
Dame
good
4, so
performance
it's gonna
shoe.
be a real performance basketball
Right,
shoe.
exactly,
It's
yeah.
just not a fashion shoe.
Which is sick because you don't really think about brands like Bape collaborating with the brand on a signature shoe.
Yeah.
And
It's
on
always
a basketball.
and
Yeah,
a basketball
that's
shoe.
what I'm saying.
Performance
Yeah.
basketball
Yep.
shoe.
Right?
It's always a lifestyle.
wild.
So
No,
I,
that's-
Yeah.
I think this,
It might
and
be
this
the
is my
first.
opinion, I think this is better. This is harder than the NMDs.
Yeah.
This
Like
is more
100%.
interesting all around.
No, for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
100%.
I think I'm gonna have to make a call to my Adidas basketball people.
Yeah.
Like straight up, this shit goes, and I really hope that this is like truth, and I feel like it is because we
Yeah.
see these like this is like it's got the Adidas tag on the bottom, and all, like this is definitely something that they have internally. So I can imagine this will be a release, and All-Star Weekend is in LA, so I can definitely see like people fucking some shit up for this. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like this would be
This
something.
may be the
Adidas is
first
coming hard.
signature basketball shoes collaborating with brands and like Bape.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah,
another?
no, that's what I was saying. This is the first
Yeah,
time we've
for
really
the
seen
performance
it.
basketball
Yeah.
Yeah.
shoe.
I mean, Supreme did Jordan
Not
5,
lifestyle.
but Jordan 5 isn't
True.
performance basketball shoe.
Right, not
Not at this
anymore.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
that
is
was
new.
20 years
Like this
ago
is exactly.
basketball
Yeah, that's a retro. This is something that's
Yeah.
on the market
Yeah,
right now
that's
that
what I'm
people are
saying.
really
And
rocking.
it's doing well. Like
Yeah.
and the like Wear Testers loves this shoe. They're like, this is his favorite shoe to play ball in right now.
Yeah, this is I fuck with it, man. The little eyes on the toe box, the shark like
Dude, the shark teeth are amazing.
that does it for me,
Back
man.
to the
Like,
Air Max 90 that had that going on.
It just adds a great separation between the sole and the upper. Like,
Well, now I think about it, Off-White Hyper Dunks. You know, the NBA players are
yeah.
Oh yeah, that happened
new,
last
you know,
night.
Hyper Dunks.
I watched that Laker
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Off-White and like Bape is like
Yeah.
up here though.
Right.
Off-White is like up here,
Yeah.
but for
Yeah.
Bape to do something like this with a
Oh, for
performance
sure.
basketball shoe
I
is,
mean, this
is monumental.
It's like a who can't they collaborate with game.
Yeah,
True. That's very true.
right?
I love it. I'm into it. I was at Compass. We keep talking about
This
Compass
is like the
Con,
30th
but I was.
Vape collaboration this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, I was at Compass Con and
they went crazy.
all the dancers at the Pharrell show were wearing like, it wasn't Bape, but it was like Bape inspired Adidas jumpsuits and shit like that. And that shit looked
they
hard.
just
Like,
released that.
yeah, that shit was dope. So I can see
It's
why
super
that
Bape looking,
collaboration
too.
is like, I know.
Like the exact same color tone.
Yeah,
And
basically they
some
just
of
took the
same
monkeys
shapes.
out like that,
Yeah,
pretty
no
much.
monkey.
Like that's all it really was, honestly.
This is a shift in the right direction though for Adidas
Yeah,
basketball. Like they're
that
trying to-
exactly, because you don't really think. Whenever we think of like all-star releases and Christmas releases and all that, you always go to Nike basketball.
Nike
like it's
basketball.
always been for the
Not for the past
past,
couple
you know,
years,
however many
though.
years. Well, yeah, they kind of
Yeah.
fell off, and I think that might be partially why Adidas is like, well, you know what,
I
y'all
just said it
fucking
under
up.
my breath. You know, like Adidas is coming hard.
Yeah.
Like they're doing a lot.
And you know,
right
Adidas
now.
is coming also out with the Chanel. The
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Chanel and the
Beast.
Beast.
That's-
Yeah, yep.
It's been confirmed, and that's gotta be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's
But see, I'm
supposedly
cool on
just
that.
at Colette
Yeah, the one like
Oh,
one
really?
floor, right?
in Paris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Colette's the
I
only
didn't
one
know
getting
that.
it? Is that like their going
Yeah.
out party?
I thought, I was
think
about to
so.
say, I
I
thought
think it's
Colette
their
was going
going
out of
out party.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that might be their little
No, I think it
thing.
is.
Yeah.
It's kind of there.
Ooh.
Shout out to my mom
Yeah.
who got mad props at Colette in Paris for wearing her Jordan 3s in there.
Hi, Mom.
Damn. That just might keep them in business. You never know. Shit.
No shit.
For real. Like, what? Why not? Oh man, how are we looking on time, Jack? We got
All
enough
these
for
kids, you know,
outros.
collaborating with like luxury brands. You know, the
Wrap
Reebok
that
just,
shit up, B.
Reebok just collaborated with Vetements again. You know, Vetements.
Yeah.
You
The
all about the
emojis.
Vetements.
With
Yeah,
with the emojis.
Oh, the emojis. I did see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, the
You look
Pump
pretty
Furies
good.
or
I think
whatever.
you should get a pair.
I love those because
cool.
they're all
Yeah.
white and then they got
Yeah,
looks like
that seems like
That's kind of
Yeah.
like it. That's
But you know,
definitely
the
a shoe.
same shoes. I mean, obviously the the model before they were like $650. Now they raised the price. It's like $1,000
retail.
retail price.
What?
Because they can.
Never mind.
Get
I won't
them.
be.
Never mind.
That is not in my wheelhouse at all.
But you know, but people are buying it.
I mean, of course,
That's
yeah.
all
Like
I
you
know.
said
There's
earlier,
a
people taking out
market.
loans and shit because they know it's gonna be an
sell it out.
investment.
You know the Balenciaga, right? The speed, the
Sure.
newest one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The
Unfortunately,
funny one. I forgot
yeah.
the name of
The
it.
funny looking
Oh,
one.
triple-
Yeah.
The triple S.
Yeah, triple S.
Yeah, we
I
know.
mean, people that are watching it, I think my 90% of my buddies, I think, copped it, whether in Korea or here. I actually the one didn't cop. I decided not to cop it.
Thank you.
Yeah, give him his props,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Because those things are fucking trash. I
Because-
hate them so much.
That's what we first talked about. I think if I copped that shoes, that pair, that would have been the epitome of the case where like I hate the shoes,
But I want to get
but
it
I
to flex.
copped it
Just
so I
just
can
so
take a
you
picture
know
on
that I'm
Instagram
still here.
and I can get the likes
Yeah.
and just show
Yeah.
them like I can cop.
I can
a
get
$100
this.
pair of
Sure.
shoes,
Yeah.
and they would have set on my whatever, and a month later I'll try to sell it.
Right.
So I told
Well,
myself,
I'm glad
like,
you didn't buy
like,
into
you know
that
what?
shit.
Yeah.
This is when I need to pull back.
I think you. I think the moral of this whole episode is, I think we all know that you can cop, man, and I think that just as your therapist, I think that you can move forward in the future and know that they know.
Yeah.
And you should really
They
just
know,
get what you
they
want.
know.
And
No,
I
exactly.
don't think you need to go
Exactly.
that far.
Hey, for real, we already know
it true
you
to
got big
fashion.
bread. You out here
Yeah.
dressed like a fucking Facebook billionaire and shit. We
Yeah,
already like
exactly.
your flex. You just subtle flex now. Like just come through with
He's
the.
way more stylish than
Just
Mark
come through
Zuckerberg.
with the
Let's make that
black.
very clear.
Nah, just come through with
Yeah.
the black tee, the fucking
yeah,
like
yeah.
basic Marshalls denim, and we good. We're like,
Absolutely.
yeah, this nigga got bread.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. It was great.
Hell yeah. For the people that are listening
sure.
and viewing, shout out to Facebook Live as well. If you're still here, we thank you. Let them know where they can find you, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is you're using these days.
Oh,
Tell me your Instagram.
That's you.
yeah, that's me.
I'm handing it off.
No, basically, I stick
No,
with one
tell
now.
them where you find you. Tell them what
Yeah,
your
yeah,
Instagram
yeah. So
is.
basically, only one place, Instagram, Iconic Eruption.
Iconic eruption.
Boom.
Can we get an eruption?
What, how do you?
I guess that's an eruption.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Thank you, thank you.
It's pretty iconic.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
right?
that's iconic.
That's me. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Well,
Thanks,
for
guys.
John Colombo, Dano, and John Park, aka Iconic Eruption, I'm your boy Steezes, and we will see you again next week. Thank you for joining us.
Peace
out. Oh, that was Liddy Too Titty.
What the fuck were you two laughing about?